113 games. 8 finals, 1,000 triumphs and 1,000 heartbreaks since their first face-off 3,286 days ago, played on this stage at the heart of European League of Legends. So indulge us a little as we revisit the past for the matchup that always delivers. G2 stormed into Europe and built a dynasty on a foundation of Fnatic bones. And I don't think Fnatic has ever really forgiven them for that. But like any worthy rival, Fnatic built and struck back. With Rasmus, Winter, Caps at their center, Fnatic had their revenge and it tasted sweet. But not sweet enough to last forever. Caps shocked the world by making the most significant roster move in European history by joining G2 and becoming the first player to see both sides of the rivalry. If it wasn't personal before, oh, it was after that. And G2 did the same again with Fnatic's icon Reckless in 2021, a second player changing colors. The matchup exploded, more intense than ever, fueled by the drama of betrayal. For many, the G2 versus Fnatic rivalry peaked here because surely no drama could match this, right? Everything that can happen already has, surely. We'll hold on to that thought and bear with us because there's a plot twist to be had yet. That's not even happened between these two teams in their extensive history.
While the past boasted a heated rivalry, the present finds itself different today. 2018 was the last year since we've seen Fnatic lift a trophy. And although many rosters have been able to come close since, none were able to achieve and overcome that final hurdle. 2025 is the year of change, and this is true for both rivals today. It's about reaching new heights, overcoming these obstacles, and reaching where no roster has ever been before. It's about vindication, proving yourself, and achieving what they have been so hungry for.
And that leads us to today, a fresh page to a tale as old as time. Now, I know what you're gonna say. It always ends the same way, another year of a one-sided rivalry. But the players never gave up, Fnatic fans, and neither should you. G2 came in this year with a fresh project, new blood, new playstyle, and a new music score they had to learn. Implementing change can take time, and getting to a new system can take time as well. And so far, the Samurais have shown signs of struggles. On the other side of the rift, though, stand Fnatic, a black and orange banner loaded with experience, strong views on the game, and 5 hearts beating in unison. Today is Fnatic's best chance to reverse the trend and show that history is meant to stay in the past. For G2, on the other hand, it is their chance to collapse back and shine. It's time for a match of the week, G2 versus Fnatic.
I think the matchup this weekend will be different due to how much back and forth exists in this rivalry. Every year is different. Like how we beat them in the 2024 season final.
Win the Grand Slam!
Summer playoffs.
G2 reign continues.
Spring playoffs.
They get 4 titles back to back to back to back.
2024 winter playoffs.
The grey screen for Fnatic, and it's another G2 win.
23 season finals. Key matchup here is gonna be Upset versus Hansama, Labrov, and Mikyx.
I think the key players in the matchup are jungle support, as always. I think SkewMond and Labrov have struggled a little bit at the start of the split, and there's still a little bit of growing pains in G2.
I know Upset is a good player, but I'm not quite sure if he can 1v3 this lane. So if you want my prediction for this weekend,
I think Fnatic is going to beat G2 this weekend.
it's easy. We win those!
And now we see in the El Clasico, I have to say, legacies, dynasties, mementos for the fans.
We've got the Kings. We need the Kings.
Dynasty
Kings.
I should put that first, of course. G2 versus Fnatic. Myself, Hysterics, and Dagda are going to take you through, and for the last 3 games of the day, inclusive of this. We've been looking forward to it. Of course, whenever they go head-to-head, it's always the fun of the rivalry. But I have to say, with different rosters coming in, fresh faces on the side of G2, Fnatic as well, their bot side changing out, there are different elements now in this 1v1 best of 1 that we have to take account for as we get the rock and roll started for you as we go into game 1.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this feels like, honestly, with the way these two teams are performing, it should be Fnatic favored. Fnatic have come out with great early starts. They've had some ropey team fights, but G2 have really been reliant on Cap stepping up and taking on the role of carry to carry them through the 2 victories that they've had. So, a lot of pressure on G2 now, because this is a rivalry that they will not want to lose.
Now let's kick this off. K'Sante banned away on blue side is always good news, being one of the best champions, and as you've been watching, it is the most picked, 13 versus 7 of Ambess, the second most in the top lane. So, now that that's gone, with Vi as well being one of the premier junglers, we're starting to limit some of the power picks here that are that B1 first pickable.
I am curious what happens here, though, because Kalista is still been something. Okay, it is banned on blue side. I was about to say, Upset has shown that he doesn't want to play it. Even yesterday, they didn't go towards it. They end up going towards the Kai'Sa with the Kalista being open instead. So I think that was a good call, because Draven is kind of the answer to Kalista, unless you want to go for the Ashe, but we haven't really seen a huge amount of that. Varus, I'd imagine, would be the pickup here instead of the Xayah, but they are going to go straight away towards the Maokai, so curious.
Maokai said trade here could be on the tables as well. Side note, they've just decided SkewMond doesn't have a name today, Dagda. Maybe he's going in cameo, in camouflage.
What if he has just actually become one with the Nunu, and this is where we finally get his burn? Not going to be good into the Maokai, but it would be.
Our graphics team had to take SkewMond's name off because they're like, we know what he's going to pick. But that Varus you wanted to see instead picked up by G2. Now, the question is, the Rel on the table, skirmishing junglers, is it going to be something like the Zedge here set up? Where do you want to go?
I was going to say, either you go to Sejuani. Xin Zhao is fine if you want to try and play around early aggression, but I actually would have also looked towards something like a Wukong, just because you can try and lock up some of the stuff with the clone, but not going to be the case. Instead, we'll have to see what the game plan is here. Could go towards the Corki in that bottom side, but is just going to default towards the Ezreal. Has kind of risen up in priority as one of the premier picks in the AD carry role. And now, no opportunity to go for some sort of roaming support for Mikyx if you'd like to, or move around. But it looks like they just want to secure the Azir here for Humanoid, which I don't hate either. Still has a fairly successful time in the LEC here.
Just wait and see that final pick come through. With Ezreal as well, Rakan, very popular too, to put down a bit of a tangent for Mikyx. But instead, it is going to be Humanoid on Azir. So good control for mid, for AD carry. That's what you want to see as a Fnatic fan. While on the other side, what did G2 round this out as? We know there's no supports picked up yet, which is kind of a first when we've seen the role priority, but a solo lane to match the Azir?
Yeah, I mean, Sylas can do relatively well into the matchup itself, and they are going to go towards it, but my biggest concern is that trying to stick to some of these carries, because you're going to be trying to get through. The Maokai set up, you've already got the Azir knockback, Ezreal is going to be able to play relatively safe, and Mikyx has kind of brought out things like the Galio that we saw yesterday as well, which honestly could actually fit in relatively well here if you try and force them into something like the Rel again, or something along those lines. So I'm curious to see what they want to try and go for, but I think if you just even blind a Braum here, it could work out relatively well for Fnatic and just playing for that pushback.
For Mikyx as well, we've seen a lot of great disengaged support so far, things like the Galio. Alistar springs to mind as well, especially, well, you're not going to run it into Sylas, are you? So maybe that's out of the picture. Renata's banned away, and Dagda, I was just looking up, I'm like, how much Sylas have we seen? Only one, it was Caps, and it was in the G2 loss. So worth mentioning here that Caps is really the only one who has the gall to pull it out here in the LEC.
Yeah, I'm curious if this last ban ends up being something that is like a Lulu or something like these. I think it is going to be okay. So they're going to ban the Rel. So I thought they'd be eyeing up the Braum pick, but it looks like they want to try and get rid of what has been comfort for Labrov. Even if he hasn't had the best of times, this has kind of been his go-to pick. And then I am curious to see what Mikyx wants to try and go for, because I imagine he'll be answering blind here.
I know you're talking about the Braum. I was going to say, to G2 snap it away. For now, another solo lane here, get the Renekton, and counter pick for support is the angle for G2.
Yeah, so I think the Jayce is fine here. You just play at range, because G2 have already kind of committed with the early Sylas rotation to some sort of dive composition, so Labrov has to go for dive. So I think you can just blind the Braum here, or G2 just hinder themselves so much off the back of this, but he's actually going to take the Leona, but I think he can go for the Alistair here, still be relatively okay as Labrov. You got decent setup, and you can just interrupt the engage that the Leona's going for.
But it does mean one of the last supports up and available. Something that can roam as well and play through the skirmishing of G2 is Rakan for the final lock-in.
Yeah, this is why I think you could have gone for the Braum early, is you're now enabling Labrov to go for what is going to be a solid engage. The flash ults on the Rakan can actually close the distance onto a lot of what Fnatic want to set up for. And Fnatic has been one of the teams that has successfully ran this kind of poke-style composition. They ran away with the game against SK with a very similar draft. So we'll have to see if that is going to be a similar case here against G2, or if G2 can put up a bit of a better fight and actually find that success in side lanes and in those dive scenarios.
You'd hope so, because again, this matchup always delivers in some regard, and now Mikyx is on the other side of it. It's so funny they were talking about Caps, you know, in history past, joining G2, joining what you call the enemy, and then has been in G2 ever since. And then on the other side, Mikyx, you know, started building up a name for himself with Han Summer in that bottom lane. Now comes and joins Fnatic, partners with Upset after they just lost Nora and Jun on their side. A lot of changes here. New rivalries being built, and hopefully new dynasties, legacies, kings, people like Dagda getting built up as well.
I mean, I am very excited for this game, so I'm just waiting to see exactly how this is all going to pan out, because for Fnatic, I think they have a lot to prove. Yep. This is their time to show that this is the roster they want to create to take on the entirety of Europe.
All right, let's get into it. Our match of the week. No surprise to anyone that is G2 and Fnatic. As we get into game, Caps on the Sylas, a big question mark into how he performs here today. I think people will be excited to see that, you know, we've built a bit of range on Fnatic as well. You're talking about it in draft, what Oscar adds in with people like Upset too. A lot of disengage, a lot of space building tools. People like Mikyx and Razork, as it looks to be standard lanes for a portion of Fnatic, but they don't know for now that G2 have sent their bottom lane top, and Dagda, no defensive warding here to spot out that lane swap.
It also looks like it'd be relatively standard builds as well. Like if you look over the LPL, we've seen Sylas is going for these tank styles with like Rift Maker into Hollow Radiance, but
God.
the Electrocute says to me that we're probably going to see more of that Lichbane build coming out for Caps, where he just wants to try and burst out someone on the back line. But again, I think you got your work cut out for you here as G2. You've got like good disengage with Maokai, with the Azir, a lot of CC that Mikyx can provide, especially if you're playing into him. So I think this is where G2 have to get creative, and it feels like that's what's been lacking from G2's game plan. They haven't been as creative. I mean, they looked like they were dizzy in their game yesterday, trying to go through in the early stages of the game. So I need to wait and see for G2 kind of to strike that note that they found last year.
I mean, it's not the only time they look dizzy as well, right? We saw earlier on, first week, the Rakan meme came out yesterday, but it was actually in week 1 that it was shown. For G2, this early game is going to start with Han Summer and Labrov up in the top side against Oscar here. This weak side for BrokenBlade. Feels like just standard here with Upset and Mikyx getting the push in. Just a side note before we get into the rest of the game as well, I am going to throw this one up, just so we do have an all-time score so you can track at home. And of course, in 2024, G2 had their number a bit.
Yeah, but I think last year, especially in summer, a lot of people were looking at Fnatic saying, hey, we beat them in playoffs. Surely this is the time they were able to take it in finals. Surely this is the time we can take it into season finals, but they couldn't find success. Now they're looking for success in the dive.
Well, the dive is going to be a level 1 BrokenBlade. He flashes away. Shield of Duran locks him down. Twisted advance. It's easy as that. SkewMond getting bullied by Oscarinin, but a great re-engage from Labrov. Damage done onto the Jayce. He gets ignited as well. He has to flash over the wall, but SkewMond hits him. Wind becomes lightning, and Oscar becomes dead.
I think he misclicked the blast code, so he wasn't able to get it. Now the TP back in.
Yeah, the problem is BrokenBlade is still level 1. He needs that minion in front to die, and he does. Slice and Dice helps out, and Fnatic only poke from afar. It's a double TP as well. Caps was worried there'd be a redive.
That's such an overcommit from Caps, though, because now you're going to get the push coming in from Humanoid in that mid lane. He's going to get the reset, doesn't have to burn that teleport, and he'll get a fantastic back. Or Caps is now just stuck in a pretty miserable lane to try and stick around in the early stages without any sort of easy reset on the teleport.
That commitment as he walks back. Again, Humanoid, yeah, he still has his, so important to note. I will just say Han Summer and Labrov in this top side, they're going to get a plate. Plate was already granted to Upset and Mikyx before, as a Demolished Stack was an easy walk-up. Mikyx now on top side, as he looks to be around this top side scuttle take from SkewMond.
Yeah, this is a brave one, but should be able to get it and then walk away. You don't really have the push there from Humanoid to actually move over. So, yep, he gets it, moves back. Good trade from Caps, but now Mikyx's in the area.
Yeah, Caps might be dead. Hello, old friend. Shield of Duran. That's easy as anything. Yeah. Humanoid even gets the kill. Caps, the TP, then the death. Not having a good early game.
Yeah, great roam from Mikyx, knowing, hey, look, Upset's going to be fine in this lane. There's no way BrokenBlade can really go for the all-in. And on the reset, opens up mid, and Caps is now down. And down that summoner spell as well means it's a very lonely walk back to mid lane.
And look at what Fnatic are doing again. They've already got the flash out. They know there's no TP. If BrokenBlade dies here, it's going to be a disaster. They're waiting to balance. There's a Nature's Grasp and a setup from Q, a twisted advance, and that's all that Fnatic need to do. Big kill again.
That juggling was fantastic. Razork starts it off, hovers on the edge of range so they can actually start to get some of that CC in check, and then Upset is actually the one that ends up tanking in the end, which is perfect for an Ezreal because you can play at range, you've got the flash, you've got the arcane shift to get out. Now let's see if G2 can answer in response.
An absolute disaster is up in top. Oscarinin, he has his TP if things go wrong, but let's see first if it goes right. He's buying time, he goes into hammer form, gets the resistances, but wind becomes lightning, almost getting the slow down as Labrov. You talk about good juggling, Labrov there perfect with his timing.
Yeah, well played there. So he manages to get the knock up, and you don't actually get the interrupt coming through from Oscarinin or even a slow, so the dashes are good. Labrov gets away, and the top laners on either side having a bit of a crap day, to be honest.
Yeah. It's classic in the swap meta that we're in. 80 carries going top, so at least we're going to get some kind of normalcy here as Oscar and BrokenBlade. There's a bit of a level difference. Thanks to the fact that Oscar, I believe, had Mikyx by his side for part of the lane.
But it was also, yeah, BrokenBlade got that wave when he TP'd back in and Caps TP'd down. Oscarinin didn't get that luxury, never actually TP'd back up, so just lost that big wave. So it does mean when you get to the 1v1, it'll be a little bit more difficult for Oscarinin to really trade effectively, but as Jayce, you should never really be in range of the Renekton anyway, so in theory you should be fine to just continue pushing in. But we're having a bit of a trade on the map. It's going to be SkewMond going for the dragon on the bottom side, 10 seconds to Grubs. I wouldn't be fully surprised if SkewMond actually potentially looks for some sort of play on the bottom side to punish Oscarinin's flash that isn't up yet.
He's also got Tunneler as well, so he's got good combat stats in this early game. The Grubs you mentioned now spawn, and Razork has to start this knowing that they're trading sides of the map. And with Upset here as well, it should be short work of the Grubs. So 3 Grubs for the first dragon of the game. Remembering again that Feats of Strength was actually picked up by Fnatic, so an even trade for objective is also a really good sub for FNC.
BB just went for a big trade on the bottom side. This is the dive that we were just talking about. I think Oscarinin has to be so careful here.
Dominus, it's Oscar level 4. I love that you mentioned it because SkewMond, as you said, it's in, it's easy, and it's easily done.
Great timing and like good setup from BrokenBlade. Takes the trade, makes sure he hits level 6, and SkewMond's able to come down nice and easy as a like. So good trade from G2 on the map. They trade objectives, but getting the kill, getting some of these plates is just going to make this Jayce basically mean nothing when you get to a late game scenario.
Crazy how important it is. As Upset, he has ultimate available, so he's trying to take this all in. Hans Summer's poked out. True Shot Barrage is available, but he's not going to pop it. There's no kill threat there, and Upset just forces him out of lane with Hans Summer, who has no TP, who has to walk back.
Labrov?
How far can he get out? It is a Rakan, makes it hard, but layering of CC is good. Follow-up damage as Mikyx will not take a Zen Blade under turret, but they will take camps. They will enable Upset to continue this push.
Yeah, I'm curious. Labrov looks like he's trying to force his way back up here. Hansam is here. They don't have the teleports on either solo laners, so this is risky trying to open up here.
Labrov comes in. Remember now, there's damage there with Upset behind them. Fnatic's still thinking. They get one plate, they move out. They get the Krugs, they move out as well.
But they also deny the majority of that wave, so only 2 or 3 creeps really XP range for Hansama there, which works out fantastically for them. And as well, being able to get that plate to Upset in a decent spot. This is just to try and push the wave. That's all it is, I think.
Also get the cleanse. It's going to turn into a kill at this rate as Labrov is getting shielded. But Mikyx, that's your old team now, brother. You're not on G2.
That was such a risky play. Like, there was no need for it. I thought it was even just to throw the, like, get the wave pushed in or something, but I don't understand. There was no real follow-up there. Upset was basically out of mana as well.
Bit of a mistake. And with what's happening here with Oscar, remember, level 6 on Jayce, what does it mean? Yakety sacks, that's right. Hammer form resistance, BrokenBlade, he's not tanking up. It's SkewMond, but under turret with the knock-up as well. Here comes the combo, and BrokenBlade's out. Instant flash, good balancing, and with that summoner as well. BB in a fantastic position, despite getting dove twice.
G2 are showing how it's done. The fact that they've been way cleaner on these dives has worked out fantastic for them now. Mikyx,
damage?
No, I think he's just, it's more like when your mother chases you with the wooden spoon. It's not actually going to do that much damage, but you're just like, it's more the fear that it puts into you. You know?
Okay, yeah. Didn't happen to me, but I understand the reference.
Yeah.
For Humanoid.
Is that trauma? Is that?
I don't know. For Humanoid, is it? Good question. Slide and glide, holds on to everything. Really nice resilience, yeah. Little clap is fair.
But again, I think the fact that G2 are already routing Fnatic in the early stage is fantastic for them. I think Fnatic's early game has been their shining light. They've been so good at playing around with Razork. Mikyx being added as well has actually managed to find some really strong early stages for them. It's kind of been when you get to the team fight and the objective setup that it hasn't been as clean for Fnatic. So I think it's where if G2 can come alive here now in these objective setups, they can catch Fnatic out of position and look to take this one home. But we'll have to see, because again, this is a rivalry that so often has many tosses and turns throughout.
Oh, I mean, it's great when it turns into a BO3, a BO5 especially, right? Especially as we go into Fearless, we hope we get the G2 Fnatic El Clasico as one Raptor left for SkewMond, as he just goes back to his camps and start clearing towards the top. I want to say how important it is in these lane swaps that experience is gained. And at first glance, people would have looked at BrokenBlade and be like, man, that guy's out of the game, as I started to say. But then because Oscar was so far behind, then because BrokenBlade had ult, they could continuously redive Dagda. And it is netted in a 600 gold lead through top, but a 0-4-0 Oscarinin in this early game, that feels like he's going to need so much more time to scale. He's got a tier and boots, that's it.
But he's out of time, right? Because it's 5 seconds until Void Grubs, a minute until Dragon, and he's, as you say, he's sitting there with a tier and some fancy shoes. Like, it's not enough, so Fnatic going to try and play away from him.
Well, playing towards the 2v2 yet again. It worked earlier on. Nature's Grasp is now down, though, as Upset takes a turret shot. SkewMond's here to reciprocate. He wants his camp, and he gets it. So Razork walks away. SkewMond's starting to overlap in CS and get ahead. As you said, Grubs are coming up. Dragon's 35 seconds away, but seems like these backs to get into position are more important for now.
Yeah, I think, Oscarin's going to step away, but I think it's just a good read coming through from Fnatic, because look at the ward coverage that they have on this top side. Without spotting where the enemy jungler was, knowing where Razork was, SkewMond was just like, he has to be coming in onto this bottom side. We haven't seen him anywhere on the map, so great vision control from G2, giving them that information to know where they should be.
Sets up as well for the potential to deny the 6 strikes. Nature's Grasp stolen by Caps. Used. And now Poke comes through as well. No Chain Lash is max first, as we can talk about that in a second. Oscarinin, good trade back. The Sylas using the range in the matchup as best he can, as BrokenBlade has the wave shoved in, and G2 will start the grubs because of it. Yeah,
I wasn't sure what the game plan was there. I can see Caps considering moving up towards that top side, but it looks like it was more to just cover the potential trade take on the grubs. Fnatic looking to trade on towards Dragon, but Razork is kind of low. Hansama, it's a poke Varus with a good amount of damage.
Mikyx engages in, Chains of Corruption. There's a hail of arrows. The poke flashed away from Mikyx would have been dead. Labrov has used the quickness as Dragon still being taken, but G2 are going to convert and move down as Abscond Duck doesn't miss. Caps is running out of mana. Note the bar as Hansama also running low as Dragon is going to go. It's Fnatic who pick it up, but now running out is a different task. The poke on Razork is enough to glide away from Humanoid as Abscond Duck into Upset is good. And finally we see Humanoid's first ult of the game, but it does nothing except send G2 away.
Humanoid was trying to see if he could go in for the all-in play on Hansama, but it kind of cost his jungler's life. He could have just opened up with the ultimate there at the start of the fight and saved Razork, but thought he might have been able to get a bit more. So jungler down. They get the dragon, but still G2 coming out with quite a bit here. That last grub is still on the top side, but I don't think anyone really cares about that singular grub at this stage. It's not going to get you to 5 or 6 or anything special.
You really think about Mikyx. Razork's like, hang on a minute. Just popping his head in. Only grub. You know, like that one person sitting alone at the bar. Someone should go talk to them. Razork, have a chat. SkewMond. Well, now it's getting competitive. Very happy person at the bar. A lot of people coming in saying, how do we do? BrokenBlade, yeah.
The boy grub doesn't look too happy that people have disturbed it.
No. Maybe this person wanted to be alone.
They finally got the house to themselves. All the siblings were gone. You know, they're about to set up. They're going to have a house party the weekend, and then suddenly people come up. They've called the cops.
Delivery driver won't stop buzzing the door. What are you doing? Yeah, wrong address. I didn't order anything. The grub is dead. The story got very real. Yeah. The day did not turn out well. 4 grubs for Fnatic regardless. As you said, it won't lead to the feat of strength, but at least Mikyx will be spawned for Fnatic here in this game. As quick side note, 1,500 gold lead for G2 in this early game. It's amazing how this is brewed as Fnatic, you can see now, losing their sides. And 2v2's not going well.
And that's a major issue for Fnatic, because a lot of this composition wants to be ahead. You had the, in theory, winning top lane matchup. You had the, in theory, winning matchup in mid as well. And that's where you should be, hey, we're on objectives first. We're starting to take towers, but G2, outplayed in the early stages, got a lot of value out of the lane swap. And now Razork can't even take his camps.
No, he can't. I mean, it's getting smited away. SkewMond splits it down the middle. Razork gets a little bit here. Look at top Dominus. But Jayce says, hang on a minute. Oscar, press flash. Oh, come on, son. Kill. BrokenBlade's going to go into the brush. He's waiting. He's got a full Fury bar. It's like I'm seeing what I'm seeing here, but I want to see top observers. May I?
I think that, no, they're resetting. They're resetting.
No,
this.
no, he's not.
Oh?
BrokenBlade's still here. Full Fury bar. Reign of Anger.
Oh, that's the crash. This is risky. Okay, he's just going to get the wave.
Got flash. Oh, God, I love top lane. How good is it?
Yeah. Once I saw the Jayce melee queue go down, I was kind of like, oh, you've committed, and you can't really bring out anything that has any damage on the opposite side. So I wasn't sure if BrokenBlade was going to look for the all-in, but instead, just going to look for the reset. We're still a minute out before Riftchild respawns. So I'm curious as to how G2 want to try and set up on the map space, because you can see Humanoid is open on bot. It looks like Caps is going to match him. BrokenBlade doesn't have that TP available, so it looks like he'll be taking the top lane. But it does mean G2 still have options if they want to try and make some plays around Caps, because you can always then teleport up to that top end, which is why Razork is here to cover.
He's been pretty good at covering. I feel like he's been hovering around, a lot around Humanoid upset. Again, it's been Oscarinin on the weak side, who is consistently just left in that isolated lane for now. There's Caps in the middle of the river. Razork's found him. Twisted advance. It's a Bramble smash down. There's a phase rush to follow. There's a Humanoid to cover. There's Caps to send out the soldiers. The flash away, but everyone's on him as upset. Yoink! My kill!
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
Guess what? Oscar's going to die again. Why? Because Fnatic deem it so. He's going to walk past the turret, and Noxus will see fit how to deal with him. Kill over to BrokenBlade, and this is the trade. Turret does go down for Fnatic though, and Oscar's starting to get less and less gold as a value for dying. So maybe it's just like the Vals, the shy play at this point.
I don't know if it works as well on Jayce, especially when it's not tank Jayce.
He does need gold.
He does kind of, yeah. He's kind of he likes a little bit of that, but I think this is actually, it's a really interesting trend I've noticed with Fnatic is, look, G2 going to get the Riftchild here. But instead, oh, are they actually? Hang on, I'm going to hold this point.
Yeah, you should.
Doesn't have ult. This is a weird contest.
It's a soft contest? Herald's gone. Are you fighting after the fact? Well, BrokenBlade gets out.
To fight after the fact?
Yeah, you're right. With no Maokai ult.
Or Azir ult. No, they're just going to back it off. But something they did a lot against Rogue, which is why I wanted to highlight the wards earlier from G2 on the second Void Grubs. They've continuously gone for, hey, we've got like 20 seconds until the objective. We're actually going to play cross-map instead of playing for the objective you expect us to. And this time around, G2, they didn't have the vision control to spot out where Razork is, so you end up getting the successful playing the Caps in the side lane and you get the tower. And I've noticed it a lot more with them, that they are just playing for side lane turrets and the initial spike of gold, rather than really worrying about Riftchild to crack up a mid-turret. It's come back to bite them at times, so I'm curious to see now how with Fnatic having a side lane turret down, how they can rotate, like say Oscarinin pushes in the spot wave, how do they move him to mid, how they use his pressure now in bot lane to set up for the dragon that's just spawned.
This dragon as well will lead to a third in the game. Now it is an Ocean Soul, this game is G2 kick it off, and Razork sits in the back of Rush. Oscarinin has pushed with Humanoid in the bot side. They'll put a fake turret up, but it's all about this contest with Nature's Grass up and available. BrokenBlade will have to start thinking about a TP soon as he clears the wave. Nature's Grass for Nature's Grass. Caps uses his own, and a good stolen as Upset's damage on the True Shot Barrage is big. Now with the TP though, G2 have the fight. Upset is Sentir! Razork buys time. SkewMond doing the same, but a flash away because Upset still hit from afar. Now the range, the poke comes into frame. Mikyx Zenith Blade is out, but in the end, it's still a shutdown. Upset finally, the Socceroo to get nothing. In the end, he gets a kill. That's one, but Fnatic walk away after losing Dragon. They almost get G2.
They're trying to make sure that G2 are fully gone back. Doesn't quite connect with the accelerated shock blast, but now upset onto bot tower. Mid tower should be gone as well. And it looks a little dicey as both ultimates come out, and it's a good TP angle from BrokenBlade, but the engage is great. The lockup from Mickey on SkewMond means that he can't really follow up on the initial engage. The knockback that we talked about from Humanoid works out fantastically, and then Upset is just able to chase down here, gets the flash over the wall to get the kill, and you see there Mickey barely not able to connect with the Zenith Blade. That could have been several more G2 members dead if that had gone through.
Humanoid flashed at the end. I guess he thought he could get one of those low health members, but instead just starts laying into caps. So a lost fight for G2, but it was only 1 kill for the Dragon. You can value that in your own time as Rakan spawns in 1 minute. That'll be spawning bot side this game. As G2 are hovering around top just to defend this top side turret. The Fnatic are now looking to trade because mid is getting threatened. SkewMond is going to shadow this. Upset's coming in. Solar Flare just ignored. Mikyx jumps on his old AD carry. Flash and cleanse away. True Shot Barrage this time dodged. As Upset's damage, nothing to scowl at. I don't know what that word is. Frown? Scrowl at.
Frown?
Yeah, it's rough. Okay,
Yeah.
It's rough damage.
You kind of go, ooh, every time.
Yeah, that's a scrowl. Like growling with your eyebrows down.
Okay, nice.
He's got this is stacked, by the way. That's mirror mana as of now.
Well, Hansam is definitely going to be frowning because now he has no summoner spells up for a potential Rakan fight.
True.
So I think Fnatic, this is your time to try and make that play happen. Traditionally, Fnatic have gone for these overload side lane plays, which is, hey, Humanoid has TP in a couple of seconds. Let's just go for a play around Oscarinin. But I think in this sort of scenario, playing it slow is going to be much better because, yeah, I like what they're doing. They're shifting Jayce up to top side because he can't really deal with the Renekton. You're going to have a better time with Humanoid being able to play around that. And then you're actually able to get a push in bot where you can always fall back towards that Rakan.
Razork's not going to commit. SkewMond is by his side. Side note, BrokenBlade has gone stride breaker this game because very committal engage from Fnatic. Once they're in, they don't really find their way back out. Turret does go down to minions in the end. That was BrokenBlade's handiwork, and with the extra attack speed that comes from stride breaker, you can see how he does it. There's also, side note, Black Sleeve of this game wouldn't have been great because your AD is long range or it's a Sins out. So that sounds absolutely rubbish as Herald, hey! Love it, Nature's Grasp.
That was
onto 1. True Shot Barrage onto 1. Fnatic are not done.
But they got north, so Fnatic have to run away. So hasn't quite worked out in their favor. Again, trying to lock down a Rakan as a Leona is never going to be a good time, but Maokai.
Razork's by himself. Fnatic moved to mid. Solar Flare was also used, and Mikyx is now drawing out this engage. Caps teleported in front of 3 people. Caps this game is having a stinker. Mickey's gonna die. Now, 2 old G2 members are dead. Well, one of them old, one of them also just older.
Well, one old Fnatic member is dead and one old G2 member is dead. That helps. Yeah, they're
very good, very good. I also just called Caps old, unintentionally, as the Fnatic start off their Rakan. Surprise, surprise, it's voracious. Surprise, surprise. Mid versus support right now. Fnatic have a lead.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to try and approach this. You've no ult on Han Sama, which leaves him very vulnerable. Humanoid still has that ultimate too.
BrokenBlade's just getting weaved by this poke from Fnatic. True Shot
50-50 in this?
Hurts a lot, I think we are. SkewMond once win becomes lightning, Labrov goes in, but Razork buffers. Oh, the twisted advances have been so clean, man. He dodges damage, he dodges death, and I don't think you're dodging this if you're SkewMond. Right into melee, upsets Ezreal clean as ever, and Fnatic are starting to believe.
I think they really should. This game, G2, they played the early game fantastic, but Fnatic have been able to outplay in a lot of these team fights, which has been where they've struggled. But instead, it's Fnatic playing this very well. Nobody overcommits. They wait for BrokenBlade to just get poked out both by Rakan and the damage from Upset. And then, as he said, Twisted Advance was great. BrokenBlade dives in, but Hansama tries to ramp up the Q to get that last little bit of an execute, but there was nothing left in the tank. And SkewMond goes down with the ship.
It's so clean as we come back to live, and Mickey's engaged again. Up against the wall, Caps. He's been isolated in the lanes, and he's just dead. Dagda, I don't remember the last time I said that, like, Caps is just losing consistently.
Well, I think Fnatic have done a good job of focusing him, right? Like, they've consistently gone down towards this bottom lane, tried to play around Humanoid and make sure the Caps can't do what he does best, which is sneak a bunch of extra waves in the mid game and suddenly come out with an item and lead or a big advantage in experience and carry the game. He's now down 2 levels to Humanoid, has had no real impact in the game. And even though it was Oscarinin that was focused down, he's slowly started to creep up that gold lead. He's even now with BrokenBlade, not that far behind in the experience. And G2 just haven't really been able to punish in the way that they were hoping.
They really haven't. Now with Nature's Grass, they're looking for the next objective, which is naturally the mid lane turret. 3 versus 3 in mid.
Oh,
Mickey wants to dive this. The damage is upsetting.
That's a scroll if I've ever seen.
pun intended, as Fnatic continue channeling down mid. Now Humanoid is here. Bit of standing gold on the map. There's an outer in top.
He's trying to sneak
mid and top
behind,
as well.
But he's spotted there by Razork. So yeah, the poke is just too much. And in theory, you want to set a poke composition behind, but trying to play this scomp that G2 has into all of that disengage is so tough. Mikyx gonna get a little bit of a love tap from SkewMond.
This is going to go further than the love tap. Maybe 200 gold for the taking. One withdrawal. BrokenBlade with Dominus. They want some more. Caps a Solar Flare, gets a perfect stun. Now Razork's in trouble as well. Twisted Advance again. He tries to isolate and get out, but the Bramble Smash this time won't be enough as another withdrawal. Upset tries to get a damage and a trade on the side. And they do just take down the outer combo.
So it is 400 gold. You do lose bot tower for it though, which isn't ideal, but I think as G2, you're kind of happy to just get members off the map for a little bit so you can start to push out these waves. 20 seconds until Baron. So I think you've got an opportunity now to continue pushing out these and trying to get some sort of vision. Again, like you can kind of see the G2 special on the minimap, which is sneaking in these little wards, like in behind enemy lines, so then you can try and get BrokenBlade into a position, or even Caps into position to make a play. But Fnatic don't look like they want to play for very long. They just want to immediately start up the Baron, potentially.
They're going to clear the vision first. One in the back of the pit as well for G2 that's well placed that will spot the start. Humanoid getting top wave in order as well. G2 have used this time to reset as they're still trailing on items nowhere near close. I mean, 3-item Ezreal, 3-item Azir versus 2 on this Sylas, who again has been struggling. Hunt somewhere on this Varus. This poke Varus. Doesn't have his 3rd item yet either. Remember, he's lethality with the Mirror Mana. Cheaper build, yet still trailing.
BB being forced back. Fnatic just trying to establish themselves in this top side. You can see that Oscarinin is hovering off of vision, doesn't want to show where he is, so they don't actually know if he's potentially on that bottom side, which is why G2 don't want to pull the trigger, but Fnatic do.
Yeah, they do indeed. It's Mikyx. He kicks it off. Nature's Grasp again. Not into Labrov, onto SkewMond. Sure shot barrage flushed away from Solar Flare under turret. I mean, upset. Absolute epitome of a game.
And the zero that G2 can do, all they're doing is running away the entire time because of the ultimates. Like, they're not actually getting damage, but the ult usage from Razork has been spectacular as we got to the mid game, because all he's done is force G2 back and bought the space they needed. BB, though, is on the flank.
He's going to try something because G2 are going to throw a hammer into the works at 5k with a lead. Fnatic obviously favored as Oscarinin's the target, but Caps doesn't land anything. Mikyx does, though, and with Baron down now, it's just G2 falling to the ground. The one-man Azir ulti, you'd say, yes, that's great from Caps. They're all onto upset. You'd say even better for G2, but Fnatic are still too far ahead. And even if upset dies, the Humanoid mid survives.
It was so close. Labrov and Caps got the kill onto upset, but it just wasn't enough. Fnatic had too much in the tank, and now they're marching down the mid lane.
They are indeed. The death time is at 25, and G2, I mean, they're normally the ones that win it out. G2 are normally the favored. We showed you the head-to-head record at the start. But Fnatic, as they work on the Nexus turrets, they know the death timers are in their back pocket. 10 seconds on Caps, another Nexus turret as they run back in. It feels like Fnatic used to look up at the stars, wondering about their place, but now they should look down and look at the dirt, because they've drawn their line in at 4-1, beating their nemesis at G2.
Summer playoffs was the last time that Fnatic beat G2 in the playoffs. It was spring 2023 was the last time that they beat them in the regular season. This has got to feel good, both for Fnatic old and some of the newer stars that have joined their roster as well. See hugs from Mikyx to his former teammates, but there's only smile on one face there.
It really is, because Fnatic hold their heads high. Everyone at home. Rare case. Not a rare dub as it only happened last year, but still to open up the year. Great for Fnatic as you can vote for your key player of the game at on X rather. Is it upset Razork or Humanoid? I don't like to sway people's opinion.
No, you never do, ever. Yeah.
But
I've never heard you comment on any of these, ever.
Upset had a banger, though. I will say. After our match of the week, we're going to throw to a quick break, but Laure is standing by on the desk with Mikyx right after this.
What an incredible play there from...
Oh, that was incredible. You love to see it.
Right, yeah, let's really
What
get into...
a move!
He's just so good. I mean, the persistence, the patience to find the angle. You just don't see that from rookies. He's got it all. He's got the command.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Ooh, that looks good. Do you want to maybe share a little bit? Yeah.
What a move!
Wait, is he switching lanes?
Red Bull gives you wings.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you. Gamers, hybrid workers, artists. Backing your every move.
These fists ain't just for show. Come on! Who's next? This is the coil before the strike. Let's settle the score. You'll want to get a close-up of this. Like the ivory serpent, I don't back down when it comes to family. You pick a fight with them, you pick a fight with me. Hometown hero coming through. Mom's fought for me since I was born. It's my turn now.
Waiting to balance as the Nature's Grasp and a setup from Q, a twisted advance, and that's all that Fnatic need. Let's see first if it goes right. He's buying time, he goes into Hammer Form, gets the resistances, but Wind becomes lightning, almost getting the slow down as Labrov.
I can ult him. Oh shit. I can, it's fine. Yeah. I can flash him, is that? Yeah, nice job, flash. Yeah, take my kill, bro. Slowly, nice. Holy fuck. We can finish it. This end zone. Yeah, I think it's on flash. I finish. I give you the buff, Elias, if you want to suicide for it. Yeah, no, don't suicide. Check in 40. Nice, guys. Well, take a slide. Clean.
Textbook AD carry mic check here. After a match of the week, Fnatic versus G2, where Fnatic prevails here, and we have none other than Mikyx himself to talk about this one. Mikyx, congrats.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Because last time I was on Excel, I wanted to also get some wins against G2, but we were not successful.
Why'd I have to bring that up right now? There's a time and place for that, in private, you know.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy now, especially because the game felt pretty in control as well. Yeah. So yeah, it was nice.
Tell me about the approach this game, against G2, your knowledge of the team. I mean, of course, you've played with these players, you know their systems, but also the fact that they've been struggling a bit right now. Where did you know how to strike and where to strike?
Well, first I kind of knew exactly how they want to draft, so the draft kind of went according to our plan, so it was a bit easier in that aspect. And I also know to gank caps, so I ganked them.
Classic.
Classic, yeah. And I also knew that he was playing against Leona, so I picked Leona. So yeah,
Right.
I kind of used all the knowledge I have against them.
Why didn't he know that you were going to enter Nautilus?
Actually, they should have banned every support except Nautilus.
Yeah.
Now,
Right. Because what I was thinking when I went into this draft is thinking, well, okay, G2 played a similar comp to this last week. Seems like a lot of European teams are playing the aggressive side of things with the low melee. Well, they're trying to play the high engaged, low range teams, and they're just completely messing it up. This also wasn't an easy game. On the other side of that, how easy was it to deal with a comp like that? We're seeing a lot in Europe right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure because, I mean, I just think range is usually best unless you have very strong engage champions. I think their only engage was kind of like Rakan and maybe Sylas if you can steal the Maokai Leona ult, but I feel like all of that kind of we can just avoid it, like tenacity or like cleanse or whatever. So I feel like it's kind of a hard thing for them to start the fight. And also if you're first in the objective, as you saw at Rakan, they just kind of get poked before they even enter and then they just get cleaned. So yeah, I feel like it was a bit of a hard draft to play for them. I think maybe they could start with something easier.
Yeah, it seems like every time a team fight came up, you guys were just always winning it, no matter what was going to happen. And I'm glad we actually finally settled the debate of who's the GOAT, because it seems like Mickey Jordan is better than Labrov James.
Oh!
Finn knows ball.
I know.
You like
that
Mike?
was a great one.
You like Mike. So we have this other con fight here where Upset actually kills the jungler of G2. Can you talk to me about this? Why did you feel so comfortable starting this Atakan? Because you were actually even numbers. And from my experience, starting Atakan when you're even numbers, usually it's pretty tricky.
I feel like we kind of chunked them earlier, or there was some situation where it was actually a 4v4, because I think I died and someone else from the enemy team died. I think it was Sylas, yeah?
Yes.
And Sylas also TP'd into the fight, so he didn't have TP. So they were kind of like 4v4, and they also felt stronger because the more they walk into us, the harder it is for them. Like, as you saw, like, Maokai sapling kind of one-shot them, and then Ezreal was one-shotting them, and then Azir. So, and then we were kind of also willing to 50-50 it, because we have Maokai. So the Q smite is, like, pretty successful. And they didn't have the most success smiting 50-50s.
Because I think that team fight, there's another team fight as well, where I thought that this was a real improvement from last week across the LEC, where it felt like a lot of teams weren't great at stopping enemies from coming into the objective, and they just kind of ended up fighting around the objective, flipping it a little bit. Both in the Atakan fight and this, you held them off really, really well, used your poke. This is good improvements.
Yeah, I think we've worked on this quite a bit during scrims, and I think it also makes it a lot easier with Ezreal, and Upset is like pretty insane on Ezreal, and he's also the main person calling for these kind of plays. So he's very, I guess, good at knowing when we have to poke them coming in and when we can just turn and all of that. So yeah, he makes it quite easy. A bit stressful sometimes because he's like doing like 2,000 words per minute, but like, yeah, it's good.
Any comments on Humanoid, your mid laner, Kia player of the game?
Oh yeah, he was smurfing. I'm very grateful that he was 1v9 this game and that my mid lane ganks paid off. Because he kept reassuring us throughout the game like he's gonna 1v9, and he just kept getting stronger and stronger, and they weren't really able to do anything against him. So yeah, it felt quite easy, yeah.
Do you have any final closing thoughts on how things have been progressing so far? Because we're halfway through regular season already. Do you feel like you're getting better at the right pace? What is the next step for you guys to get better?
Yeah, I think we're getting pretty good, pretty fast, I would say. I mean, I think we still have this problem where sometimes we are not on the same page with everyone. So there's still a lot of clutter in the comms, a lot of chaos, which I think is like the main difficulty we have to overcome. So everyone just, you know, there's no useless comms basically, because I feel like we have a lot of useless comms a lot of times. And just everyone being on the right place at the right time. I think besides that, individually, usually, I mean, I guess on stage sometimes we do choke it a bit. I feel like I've seen some misplays that usually wouldn't happen in scrims, like for me as well. Like yesterday, for example, I was like cringing it as well. And the Alistar game, yeah, that was a bit embarrassing, but besides that, I think we're doing quite well, considering it's like kind of the start of winter, and I'm very confident in best of 3s and best of 5s we're going to do way better, especially with Fearless as well.
All right, well, at least you know where you want to go, and I feel like it's been a great start for you guys so far. Thank you for joining us today. Mickey sends his regards to G2 Esports and takes match of the week here. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back in a couple minutes for KC Rogue. Stay tuned.